is Allison here for Fit Bottom World, and today we're going to be doing a practice that's really good for neck tension. So maybe you have neck tension as a result from forward head carriage and looking at mobile devices, or maybe you just slept funny, or maybe it's just you don't know why, but it's there. A lot of times what I see is that stretching these muscles sometimes isn't the most helpful thing. Sometimes it can be a little bit more helpful to get in there and do some self-massage techniques. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. So as part of this practice, it'll be pretty short, just two different techniques I'm going to show you here. So I have two myofascial release balls. You could use lacrosse balls, you could use tennis balls. Tennis balls aren't quite as durable, they might pop, but you could certainly try them. And then I have a yoga block, and you can just use a stack of books or something as well, as long as it feels pretty stable and gives you some support. So the first thing that we're going to do is just kind of start in a seated posture. So you're not going to need the balls to start. I'm working with the walking boot here, so my seated posture is going to look a little bit different than yours, but you can just sit in a position that feels comfortable. I like sitting on a block. Even without my broken foot, I still like sitting on a block. It's helpful to have your hips above your knees. So just kind of come into a comfortable position there. Rest your hands on your thighs or on your lap. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, and just take a couple of nice big breaths there. Just to give yourself a moment. And sort of, as you sit here and you breathe, you can even, within your breath, start to pay attention to the way that the breath moves through your rib cage. See if you can direct more of the breath down to the lower part of your ribs so that your ribs sort of expand outward slightly as you breathe in, and that they draw back in towards the midline as you breathe out. So as you start to send the breath down into the lower part of your ribs, notice that you can soften around your neck. As you direct more of your breath down into the lower part of your ribs, that there's a softness in your chest and shoulders as well. Just as if there's some more ability to find ease through the top of your rib cage as the lower part of your rib cage expands with breath. Let's take another breath there. Exhale. You can open your eyes. So I'm going to show you this first technique just on one side, and then you can just go back and watch it again for the other side so that we have time to get to the next piece of this. So what I'm going to do here is take my right arm onto the side, and then I'm going to turn my thumb up, palms forward. I'm going to bend my elbow and just stick my hand here on the side of my neck. So what you're looking for here is where your thumb is, you'll feel your collarbone. And if you go just above that, and sort of dig in a little bit there, you'll feel some wiry, sort of tender muscles. And you can sort of push in a little bit on those, and your fingers are just kind of wrapped around the back of your neck here. So we're staying away from the front of your throat, we're on the side there, just above the collarbone, just pushing into some of those wiry muscles there. And you can kind of give a little bit of pressure with your fingers, just so you can dig in a little bit there. And then find a spot that feels tender. We're not looking for anything painful. Just looking for something that feels a little bit tender. We call those trigger points. Any point that when you push on it, it feels uncomfortable, it feels tender. So you're gonna find one of those trigger points there, put a little bit of pressure on it with your thumb. Keep that pressure as you take your left ear towards your left shoulder. So you're leaning your head away from your thumb. And then release the pressure, but bring your head back up. And then do it again. Find another tender spot, could be the same one or a different one. Press in with your thumb. Keep that pressure. Lean your head to the left. Take your head away from your thumb. Release the pressure, bring your head back up, find another spot, just kind of push in there. Anywhere in that area that feels tender, take your head over to the left, and then bring it back up. We're going to just refine this a little bit. So if you take your thumb back from where we were, so here's my collarbone, my thumb is just above it. I'm going to go up higher till I find this sort of muscle tissue here. Kind of that one where you grab onto people to give them a massage. You're going to grab onto that muscle, and then take your thumb up the side of your neck to where that muscle and your neck muscles meet. So your neck muscles are coming down, and then that muscle you're touching is your traps, and it runs from the back of your head out to your shoulder. So if you dig your thumb in that corner back there, you find separation between those two muscles, between your neck and your traps. Push your thumb in there. There's plenty of trigger points in there. You'll find something. Find something that feels a little bit tender. Put some pressure on it. Keep the pressure. Take your left ear towards your shoulder. And this should be relatively uncomfortable, but nothing painful. Release the pressure and bring your head back up. Dig into that little corner there again. See if you can kind of get your thumb into that muscle. Put some pressure on it. Keep it, but take your left ear towards your left shoulder. And do that just one more time here. Come back up. Press into that little corner. Find something that feels tender. Hold the pressure. Take your left ear towards your left shoulder. Good, and if you have more time, you can stay here and do more of this on this side. Right? Otherwise, relax your hand, be as still as you can, and just notice the difference between the two sides. Notice if one of your shoulders feels a little bit higher or lower than the other, or if it feels a little warmer, a little cooler. Just notice what you feel. Take a breath in, and a breath out. Awesome, open your eyes. So you can move on to the other side. And do the other side so that you kind of even out that sensation. Hopefully you felt there was a little something going on, even if you're not really sure what it was. But we're going to move on to the next one here, which is getting into that muscle that we had our thumbs on at the end there, but on the back. Okay, so we're kind of looking for this tissue, this fleshy mound here, kind of between your neck and your shoulder. Just kind of right there. So the two balls are going to go there. So you're going to come onto your back, feet on the floor, knees bent, have your block nearby. You're going to take the two balls, you're going to pick up your shoulders, one in each hand, and just sort of tuck them in there behind you. They should be pretty close, almost like they're going to pop out. They're not really far underneath you, but pretty close there at the top. And you might not feel much right away. That's what the block is for. You're going to take the block, put it on its lowest height, underneath the back of your hips. So it's not in your lower back, it's lower than that. And what that'll do is move more of the weight of your body towards the balls. Okay? And you still might not feel a ton here. This is a pretty big tissue that we're digging into here. So again, not looking for pain, we're just looking for tenderness. For me, I find it's helpful to take my arms up and then drop them towards the floor behind me. If your hands don't come to the floor comfortably, and you want them to rest, because hovering them there is uncomfortable. We're going to be here for a little while. So if they don't come to the floor, you can just bend your elbows and put your hands on your forehead. And then you can wiggle around a little bit. Just kind of wiggle the shoulders around. See if you can find something that feels tender. When you find a tender spot, let your body be heavy. Lean into the floor, lean into the balls. Take a breath in. And a breath out. And then maybe wiggle around again. See if you can find another tender spot. And you're not really pushing your body into the balls. You're just kind of letting the weight of your body kind of give that little extra pressure there as you kind of lean into them. Take a breath there. And a breath out. And then reach back there. If the balls are really close to your neck, move them a little bit out towards your shoulders. If they're already kind of out towards your shoulders, you can try moving them a little bit closer to your neck. But then again, wiggle around a little bit. Maybe move your arms around. Maybe find a spot that feels a little bit tender. Park your arms somewhere. And stay here for 2 breaths. Let your body be heavy. Soften your spine towards the floor. You can close your eyes and visualize the tissues there softening in response to that pressure. Just another breath. Exhale. And then release that. If you want to stay longer and you have time, you can. You can totally stay there. Otherwise, take the balls out. Get the block out. With as little movement as possible, just come onto your back there and notice the sensations. Notice if you feel a little bit of warmth as the circulation returns. Or maybe you feel a little more coolness, almost like the tissues have been hydrated and quenched. Just give yourself another moment there. And then bring yourself all the way up to sit. Roll over to one side, all the way up. Alright, so there you go. 2 things you can do, pretty simple. The one with your hand you can do anywhere, and I find that although it's can be very uncomfortable when you really get into that corner there and put some pressure, it does have this way of making the tissues and feel a little better and the tension to be just a little bit less. So, a couple things for you to do, a couple tools for you to try. I'll see you next time.